So we're going to do things a little bit differently than most panels. At this point in time, we've opted to not put a visual on the screen, but we have some survey stats that we might pop on there, especially if people want them. And a huge tool of ours for those who are following on with like a tablet or a laptop is going to be the ESA survey results. And we'll get to that. So if you want to prepare yourselves, if you're like using a mobile device, feel free to grab those from 2013. There's a lot of interesting stuff in there. So in case you're lost, this is a panel about kids and family games, and largely the fact that millennials right now are having a lot of kids. The average age of the gamer in 2013 was 31. So that's right in the middle of the millennial time frame. And so how many people here are between the ages of 25 and 38? You're millennials. How many are kids? How many people here know someone between the ages of 25 and 38 with a kid? There you go. That's why we decided this was a good panel to do. So my name is Nicole. I kind of decided that this was a thing that wasn't getting done enough, I guess. Maybe a good thing putting it. It's a huge, huge, huge market. A lot of people don't realize exactly how many kids play games and what kind of games that they play. And a lot of people could be taking better advantage of that. Developers on one end, and on the other hand, parents who maybe don't see exactly how many games are available for their kids to play that they wouldn't have considered, even just portions of games, as we were just kind of talking about. So I'm a freelance journalist, and I started that about 2 years ago. I've been affiliated with Game Skinny, done some work with Polygon, and most recently Instant.org, which for all families in the room is a great resource for family gaming. I'm no longer affiliated with them, so that's not like a shameless plug. I have a 4.5-year-old boy who has been gaming since he was 1. He stole my iPad and we downloaded a Peekaboo app, which is one of the greatest Peekaboo apps that there is. It's literally just called Peekaboo. And he has stolen every electronic device since then, and now has his own iPad mini that he has had for over a year now. He plays literally games on every single console, back to Atari, and most recently the PS4. And he's on it. So these are our other things.
I'm Jenna. I founded a studio called Little Worlds Interactive, and we have a game called The Counting Kingdom, where you are a wizard's apprentice. You're defending the kingdom with the power of man. So it's for 6 to 8 year olds, but I designed it to be fun for any age group. We recently released on Steam, and it's been a lot of fun. About 2/3 of our reviews are from adults, just enjoy the puzzle-like elements of the game. So if you want to check that out today, we're in the digital showcase all the way down the road. Look for the big, colorful monsters.
No, I spent like 2.5 hours playing here when I first got it.
Just released on Steam, and we're coming to iOS this fall.
Hey everybody, my name is Steven Dutzman. I'm the editor of Engage Family Gaming. I thought I was going to be the only writer on the panel. I'm a late ad, so I know that I'm not in the booklet anywhere. I've been writing about family video games specifically for about 1.5 years now. Before that, I was trying to be, I tried to be just like every other freelance writer I wanted to write, but I got tired of being guy number 400,000 writing about Call of Duty, especially since I'm really, really bad at Call of Duty. So, and eventually my wife, who I credit all of my good ideas for, because every good idea came from someone's wife, girlfriend, mother, or sister. At least that's my story. She said, why don't you write about games for kids? You've got kids. Kids' games are great, and you always talk about how great they are, so why don't you kind of evangelize them? And so, a little logo with a rocket ship later, and here I am. It's a lot of fun. I'm really excited. I didn't think, I had a nightmare that there was going to be no one here, and it was going to be like one person. So thank you, first of all, for coming. It's really exciting, although it's kind of intimidating. Yeah, but hey, we're going to make it work, right? We're all friends now, family gamers and developers. So yeah, I'm done rambling for a little bit.
So for those who might have been expecting Baptiste to be here, unfortunately he had a last-minute family commitment. He sent his love. He was really, really, really upset that he couldn't be here. He had some great feedback from the games at Firehose Games, which is all ages games as well. Check out his stuff in respect of his commitments to this panel. So I think the first, also, if you guys, I'm kind of the idea, if anybody has a question that they think of, as long as we're not in a tirade, feel free to raise your hand. We want this to be as interactive as possible, which might sound super unorganized, but we're hoping it works out. And one of the first questions that I had that we were kind of all interested in is, how many people here have a kid, again? Any age, have a kid? How many people here are developers? How many people here are developers and have kids? So that's a really small market that you guys are in. So part of the problem is there's a fair amount of developers in the room, there's a fair amount of parents and families in the room. We kind of wanted to create essentially a forum where everyone can learn a little bit of something. We want to talk about price, about content. We want to break down some perceptions, I think is a really big one. Looking at the survey I have in front of me, we're looking at the 2013 ESA survey, which is the Entertainment Software Association. They make the ESRB ratings. And I know that from working in retail and games for 8 years, people think that the ESRB ratings don't matter. You guys hear that a lot? That nobody pays attention to the ESRB ratings? Who here thinks that parents don't notice the ESRB ratings or don't pay attention to them at all? Does anybody think that? I see at least a couple hands. So I was really surprised that 85% of parents are aware of the ESRB rating, and 88% of parents believe the system is very or somewhat helpful when they're selecting games for their kids. 91% of kids, when they buy a game, have a parent with them. So that's a really staggering statistic, especially when you consider that games like The Sims 4 were rated mature in other countries. So that's a huge roadblock, and thankfully in this country we don't see that a lot. What's I'm assuming Counting Kingdom is the for everyone.
It's not rated quite yet.
Oh, fair enough.
That's the benefit of being on certain platforms, like releasing on Steam, releasing on iOS. It's not actually a requirement to get on there.
So good thing to know.
That's a hoop that at some point in the future we'll have to jump through. The App Store has its own rating system, so hopefully you'll be able to get in the 6 to 8 year old range or something similar to that. The worst the game has is colorful poops that look like explosions. So I shouldn't do that.
I have an interesting question. How many people think that more than 20% of games in 2013 were rated M for mature? Or, worse than that? All right, so what? 12% were rated M for mature. And of a $21 billion industry, almost all of that money went to those 12% of games, which is insane. 46% were E for everyone, 19% were 10 plus, and 23% were teen. That's something you pointed out here, if you want to tell a little story about your kids and Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, how many people realized, I didn't even realize until I bought the game and was playing it, that Assassin's Creed Black Flag is only rated T for teen. It's insane. I thought I didn't even read it. Obviously I didn't review it, but it's not quite for my target audience. But I just thought that I just like to point out my own failings. So a little self-deprecation in the beginning of the panel. Yeah, that was my story about a set. As far as that one and the ratings.
I know my 4-year-old will play Assassin's Creed. Now, before you all look at me like that, he only plays the section where we drop him onto a boat and he drives around and shoots the cannons. He thinks that's great. That being said, shortly after that became a very popular thing, a lot of kids were playing that and their parents were talking about it. Disney Infinity came out with a patch that dropped almost the exact same action into Disney Infinity. So you could get on a pirate ship and you could drive around. My boyfriend came home and he goes, "Is this Assassin's Creed? How'd you get that loaded up?" And I'm like, "No, that's Disney Infinity." It's almost indistinguishable in some places. So a lot of the games like Disney Infinity and Skylanders that are targeting kids are seeing what the bigger games are doing and putting them in. I recently reviewed The Last Tinker, City of Colors. I didn't love it, I'm not gonna lie. But one of the actions you can do in there is you jump on a rail and you ride it, and you literally just jump on. It's one action, and you follow it. You've got the motion like this, like you're an assassin, and you fly all around the town, and that's a technique that wasn't present before Assassin's Creed in very large games, and kids love it. And let's see, this is a tiny, tiny, tiny print. How many people think that parents think that games are a positive part of their child's life?
I certainly do.
Yeah, I know I do.
I certainly do.
So that's a pretty accurate representation. According to the survey, 56% of parents said that games are a positive part of their life. So that can be any kind of game. Depression Quest all the way to, I don't know, teach something. There's tons of different varieties, obviously.
And just to jump in quickly, I actually just read a very interesting study online. I don't remember who it was by, unfortunately, saying that games are really indistinguishable from any other media in terms of their impact on kids. So, as with anything else, it's all about moderation. If you're going completely overboard, it can be detrimental, but a reasonable amount of time engaged with games. Give me just 30 seconds to finish up. Can help kids develop social skills and motor skills and logic, decision making. So, as with anything else, like a lot of things, just let them play a little bit. Yeah.
Could you speak up? I have trouble hearing you.
Oh, sorry.
That was the part that I was looking for.
I should have called it easier.
Yeah.
Let me give the 20-second version of that, except louder. So I just read an interesting study saying that games are pretty much indistinguishable from any other media in terms of their impact on kids. So games in moderation can be great, teach important skills like social skills, movement skills, I had a better word for that earlier, decision making, mental skills, logic skills, but as with anything else, if you're giving them 20 hours a week, that's probably too much.
To tie that in, 68% of families with children under 18 felt that gameplay provided mental stimulation or education. 58% of those families felt that gameplay helped connect them to friends, especially those that they weren't able to spend time with in person. And 55% felt that the gaming helped families spend time together. That's a huge key. I know I have an article that's in works right now where I got feedback from a child psychologist who basically said that the most invaluable thing you can do right now is play games with your kids. Because in the next 5 to 10 years, when they're in high school, it's probably going to be living Ready Player One. And they're going to be modeling what they learn now as kids, and how to interact with games, how to deal with frustration, how to deal with teamwork, how to deal with failings, how to deal with successes. So that's huge. And I mean, it seems like in general, a lot of the time is either weekly or monthly. It's pretty average that about half the families are spending time at least weekly playing games, but definitely monthly. And some kind of interesting, the top 5 reasons that parents play games with their kids were because it's fun for the family. That was 88%. Because they were asked to. That's a big one in my house. Come play this game with me. Because it's an opportunity to socialize with their child, which is kind of the opposite of they're asked to, and that was actually 75%. It's an opportunity to monitor game content. It's surprisingly low at 61%. That's really scary. Like you were saying earlier that your kids didn't realize that Assassin's Creed was a killing game because they never saw killing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, it's a great way to part of this. I know there's a lot of developers in here. One thing as a critic that I have noticed has been really strong. I call myself a critic just to make myself feel better. One thing that I have noticed is that there are a lot of games out there that successfully compartmentalize violent acts, right? I mean, there's some stuff that just people don't want to see. And for the longest time, I was able to play games like Skyrim, Assassin's Creed, etc. Clearly not appropriate for children, but they had no idea that Assassin's Creed was about anything other than climbing crazy old buildings. Because we have a pause button, we can turn it off. Skyrim to them is literally all about hunting and making leather armor. And, talking to really bizarre British guys. That's really all they do. They don't know that there's this other world out there. They'll find out eventually, right? But the ability within games to compartmentalize some of the stuff that may be less tasteful. If you can reasonably do that within the design space of your game, it's probably not a bad idea.
yeah, absolutely. We're coming to the end of all of that, and we've got a really great topic to cover. So looking at the top 20 video games of 2013, who here feels that half or more of those were rated M for mature? Who here thinks that a third or more of them were rated M for mature? So there were only 6 games in the top 20 that were rated M for mature. Almost all of the rest of them were E10 plus or E. The number 3 game in 2013 for video games was Madden, and that's the name for everyone game. There's violence, but it's the same violence as TV, sports games. The number 6 game was NBA 2K14. So in the top 10, you've got 2 sports games that you play with your kids, even if they're not a cheerleader. The real winners, I would say in the top 10, you've got Disney Infinity at number 10, Minecraft at number 9, and Just Dance 2014 at number 8. So in the top 10, you've got 4 huge games that are all very kid-friendly. And then, further down, you've got Skylanders, you've got Pokemon X, Pokemon Y, Lego Marvel Superheroes, And Batman Arkham Origins was actually one of the only violent, action games that released that year that wasn't considerably more violent. Now, on the flip side, in computer games, I'm just going to jump right to it. There are only 3 games in the top 20 for computer games that were rated M. All of the rest of them were teen, because it's like every iteration of The Sims 3 that came out that year. They were the top 20 games. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 versions of The Sims. Maybe it's on the top 20. Like, 9. That's insane. But right along with those, the normal, the StarCraft, the Diablos, World of Warcraft, obviously, Final Fantasy. There's not really as many computer games, and unfortunately, a lot of the computer games, like you said, they're not falling into those ESRB ratings because they're going through Steam, so they're not eligible for a lot of these surveys. Surprisingly, though, Minecraft is not on the top 20 for computer games, which it doesn't make any sense. But when you think about it, a lot of kids don't really have access to computers the way they have access to consoles. My son can play a couple educational games online, but the console games, I'm ready, let's go. I can make this guy run and jump, do this.
Were those numbers for sales for last year?
Yes,
or-
sales for
okay.
all of 2013 by units sold.
Okay, that makes sense. Minecraft.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say the digital stuff is recording that, right? So that's why it makes sense that contract.
Yeah, that's very true. So that's a very, very good point. I definitely did not think about that. I bought mine.
Yeah, are those usually physical copies of PC games?
It's based, yeah, because the ESA standards are based on,
Yeah, it's
they're
retail.
based on the NPV. Those are all physical.
As the NPV group / retail calculators. That being said, there are, I work with Hoffstein right here, so in games, and so we sell a lot of visual special cards, and they do track those when they are purchased in the know that much. Because you have to activate them the same way. So if you bought a digital copy of Minecraft, you have to activate the code the same way you would on a PC version. Or a PC version. And the last note that's a little crazy is that games for kids and games for families is the largest growing market in games and has been for the past 2 years.
Good job.
Games overall grew by about 10%, even though the industry and the economy only grew by about 2%. So there's really no indication that games are going to slow down. And as you kind of pointed out here, almost everybody in this room knows somebody who had a kid, especially somebody that's in the ages of 25, 30, 38 who had a kid. So those of us in that age range, I'm 27. I started playing games when I was 8. We didn't have a lot of movies. So you can get a lot of great games. What did you guys think?
Oh, gosh. One of my friends growing up got me the original NES, so that was my first experience.
I think I was 5, I mean, yeah, I think I was 5. I mean, I don't know, really, really young and really, bad enough to be really frustratingly bad at everything I played.
Yeah.
I got better slowly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, bad enough to be really bad, and you don't have to be really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how old are your kids?
My oldest son is 9, and I have a 5-year-old. They're my game testers, right? I have them suffer through some stuff that I know that they probably won't be able to play. How many people play Shovel Knight here? Woo! Oh man. So my youngest son, I feel bad. I gave him a piece of cake for this one because I got him excited about it because I was excited, and he just couldn't do the pogo jump, right? And he's 5, so I can't really blame him, but he was so disappointed, so I gave him a piece of cake. Made up for it, because who doesn't love cake? But, they started way younger, because I evangelize games, always have, so they were probably starting when they were toddlers,
Yeah.
when I trusted them with the iPad.
Yeah. I worked at Best Buy. I was like, $500. Sure, here you go. So there's some interesting quotes that are found in the survey that I thought were really very key as gaming moves forward into a place to be powerful for kids and their families. Which is that, has anybody here heard of the STEM model? Or the STEM education method? Especially those kids, I know I live on Cape Cod, and we have 4 or 5 high schools and middle schools now that have actually created entire STEM education departments. Our middle school in Sandwich now is 2 grades, and it's entirely created STEM academy, which is STEM preschool. So science, technology, engineering, and math. And they're trying to keep earlier. Or in some cases,
But there is something called STEAM.
They're starting to
STEAM,
see.
right,
Yeah.
and
That's very cool. Yeah, everything needs to be in there. So there's so there's a quote here that says, all games by their nature have a deep relationship to their core STEM skills of logic and reason, empiricism, and scientific method. So I know this guy in front is really excited about Minecraft. Before you started playing Minecraft, do you think that you would have been able to build a castle with a computer?
The computer, no, but other stuff, yes.
Alright. So what's your favorite thing to build? No question. Oh, okay, so that's an answer in itself. So how long have you been playing?
I don't know, about a year maybe.
And do you mind, Mom and Dad, if we ask how old you are? How old you are? If I had to guess, I'd say 10? 9, sorry, oh, I can hear you. So you've been playing for about a year, and you can build whole structures. Do you have any friends who can play with your younger people?
Oh, yeah, actually one of my cousins is much younger than me.
And play with you? That's pretty awesome, right?
I've seen him before.
I know my family's a little bit of controversy that we're probably going to get backlash for with an article that posted to my son does Let's Plays with my boyfriend. We're doing a 30 years of Mario playthrough right now, and there's a lot of kids' games. They're really old. Mario Paint, Mario Preschool, Mario teaches typing, Mario teaches numbers. They didn't really want to play those games that much, so they invited my 4-year-old to sit in front of a microphone and play the game. There's no webcam, there's no, here's my home address, this is where my kid goes to school every day. But there's a lot of backlash on that. On the flip side, then he turns around and says, I want to watch someone play this game that we don't own, that he's seen, in stores, or he's seen commercials for Skylanders. That's a big investment. I'm not ready for that commitment. He wants to see people play Skylanders. There's a lot of kids doing Let's Plays. Has anybody here have a kid or know a kid that does Let's Plays? A couple of them. Yeah, my friend who came with me, she's like, yeah, I don't think it does Let's Plays. So there's a huge market for kids doing Let's Plays with their parents. I know there's an adorable little girl who plays with Minecraft with her dad.
I'm sorry, I can't understand what you're saying.
Oh,
Play what?
Oh, Let's Play. Sorry, I apologize.
I still can't.
Oh, it's a Let's Play. As in, let's play a game.
Let's play.
Yes, sorry. So I apologize.
Wait, and what is that?
So a Let's Play is when somebody uses video capturing technology to record what they're playing on the computer, on the television, through their console, sometimes even through their handheld or mobile device. And then they're able to save that in the video, edit it, they can record themselves talking about it at the same time, they can use a webcam so that they can record their reactions to it at the same time. People make a lot of money doing it, that's for sure. It's a really up-and-coming market. YouTube is probably the next online format, Twitch and YouTube are the next online format for talking about and spreading the evangelism of these games, absolutely. But so kids, obviously, everyone's afraid of exposing their kids on the internet. Everyone's afraid of exposing themselves on the internet, frankly. But kids especially, because there's a lot of creepy videos out there. And so if you Google or YouTube, family Minecraft or 5-year-old Minecraft, you can find a lot of kids that are playing Minecraft. So you're not watching it in most cases. You're not staring at a person who's just holding a controller. You're looking at their game screen. You're looking at what they've created, or you're looking at the monsters that they're fighting. In a lot of cases, the educational games they're playing. And it's become a tool to be able to not only review for yourself as a parent what kind of content is going to be okay for your kid, but also for your kid to look at a game that can cost you hundreds of dollars, like Skylanders, and decide whether or not they really, really like it, or if they really just like those shiny toys. So I know that that's, for me, been a huge thing, but it's very controversial. I feel like in 5 years, everyone's kids will be on YouTube and just be like, whatever, don't worry about it. Yeah. I don't know kind of where we should take things next. Do you want to talk about kind of developing games for kids? Is that kind of the flip side? How do we learn about how we can actually play games?
education at all. I'm getting slowly ramped up on that. But when I became an indie developer, I decided that I wanted to do something that contributed a little bit more to the world. I spent years working on games where robots were shooting other robots, and I was just kind of like, I want my work on this world to be a little bit different and more impactful. And so I was kind of trying to figure out what that meant. And one of my parents' friends called me up and was like, I have an idea for a game. And as a developer, you're always just like, oh. Okay, tell me your idea. And he ended up talking about this educational game idea, which that in and of itself wasn't super exciting, but it led me to do some research in the educational category on the App Store. And at first I was so excited because I had these amazing memories of playing Treasure Mountain and Carmen San Diego and Oregon Trail growing up, and I was like, what is the equivalent, like the modern day equivalent to that? What do we have? There must be something great and exciting. And I just couldn't find it. For the younger kids, there are some really great brands, so like Tokaboka, Sago, they all have these great names. The Dr. Panda series, like there are these really fun toys available for kind of 2 to 5 or 6 year olds. But once you got into real game territories, or like 6 to 8, I found the quality just dropped off of a cliff. And so with amazing amounts of hubris, I was like, I shall take on this. I will create an educational game that's actually really fun. And so that's been the goal with the Counting Kingdom from the beginning, is to create something that is educational. Every move that you're making fundamentally is addition. But it's also legitimately a game. It's not just a quiz. That's really what I was saying with a lot of these games, is their idea of gameplay is asking the player what is 6 plus 7, and until you type that in on a little calculator, you can't move forward. That's not really a game. That's not really fun. And so the Counting Kingdom was built from the bottom up to really have some interesting strategy in it, to actually require some logical thinking. The best move is not always the greatest addition move that you can make. There are always multiple different things, so you have to figure out, like, all right, I'm defending these towers. What is the best set of monsters that I can cast a spell on instead of just what's 3 plus 2? So that was sort of where the seed of the idea came from. I decided to tackle math because I was tutoring in a 3rd grade classroom at the time, helping a young girl out with math. And I just saw so much pressure, even at that young age, around that particular subject. I feel like if a kid that age is not doing well at music, it's not quite the same, like, earth-shattering, your future is in jeopardy that happens if these young kids aren't really excelling at math at an early age. I'm not saying that's a good thing, I'm just saying that I was seeing very different pressures there. And so I thought math would be a good subject to tackle from a development standpoint, first of all, because computers know how to do math. So if I'm trying to do an English game, I have to teach a computer purple wall banana. It doesn't make sense. But computers already know that 2 plus 2 equals 4. So that whole system is already built in. I didn't have to create that from the ground up. So it worked well from a dev standpoint, and then I can help kids with math, take a little bit of the pressure off there, give them a way to practice their addition skills at home that was just really fun and engaging and exciting, that I could potentially be doing a good thing. So that's my journey. I don't know if I left out anything important. Any questions, I guess? Yeah.
My younger sister, she just graduated from school. She's actually teaching in a 3rd grade classroom. If and how have you been able to get Counting Kingdom into, say, a 3rd grade classroom if that's what they're learning and there is this high pressure on it? How do you go, hey school, try my app, or how do you go about testing it for that age level and that curriculum level?
So I've done a little bit of trying to get into schools because I'm not a nonprofit company, I'm a for-profit company, it's an LLC. Schools are understandably very wary of that. And so my initial target has really been the consumer audience. So we just released on Steam, which is a PC and Mac platform. We're releasing on iOS this fall. And then after that, I'm going to turn my attention to trying to figure out, like, how do we crack this nut of getting into schools. There are a couple different companies I've talked to that are hoping to create marketplaces for educational games so that they can really be that middle person between developers and schools. So they handle a lot of, like, writing up the curriculum, figuring out, what are the Common Core standards it adheres to, things like that. And then they interface with the schools, figure figure out what games are gonna be the best match. So that, I think, is probably gonna be the best route for me. I don't think as a one-person studio, I could try and tackle getting it into schools on my own.
What about, I know that my sister's in Montgomery County in Maryland, and that school systems work very hard to basically get all of these kids. They essentially have laptops. There are children going to school with laptops now. And then there's Amplify that's actually developing their own software, or hardware, for low-cost tablets for kids to use in schools. So could partnering with those providers for the hardware open that up maybe?
Absolutely, and I've talked to Amplify a little bit. From what I've heard, they're targeting a slightly older audience, so I'm 6 to 8. I think they're probably more like 8 to 14. But I'm still in communication with them just to figure out if we can make that work. I'm not aware of any specific PC folks that kind of sell the computers preloaded with software for schools. I might just not be aware. There might be some out there that I don't know of.
See if I can find out what it is. Is that like a corporate scale?
I know that one of the schools in our district has, basically, they have a contract with student tablets to get iPad minis that have like preloaded credits for certain games and certain software that allow them to interact with students from in school through games and through educational programs. And then they just, once the student registers their iPad, they just download the software that's been pre-purchased. So that's one way I know that they're doing it, but I'm sure there are other players in that game, especially going into the now that STEM academies are becoming more prevalent.
There's another route being through computer labs in school and web distribution between HTML5 and Unity and Flash. You know, you can do an awful lot of game development and make it available through the web and through mobile through the web. And you don't necessarily get used in the classroom as an educational game as part of curriculum, but you're on an approved list in the computer lab and you're available to kids there. You know, our company has something like 70% penetration into elementary and middle schools through computer labs. So
That's awesome, and I'm using Unity, so that's really good to know about. I don't think that HTML5 is ready quite yet for Unity. Is that
I mean, the HTML5 has its own development platform.
right? But Unity, I think at some point is going to let you export things in HTML5. Maybe it's just not ready yet. So that one of the pros and cons of using Unity is that it lets you publish to all sorts of platforms, but then you need a plugin currently downloaded on the web. It's a huge barrier.
It's true, although it has a really high pickup rate for people who will download it.
It's still not anywhere near like Flash or something like that. So it's a possibility. That's definitely something I'd love to look into because then it's going to potentially play at libraries. My worry is that educational institutions are going to be even less likely to be willing to download a plugin that they're unfamiliar with. And then I would have to also handle payment processing on my end if I wanted to do that. So that's on my docket of things to look at.
You can do it. One thing that I know is always a topic of discussion with teachers. I'm actually a certified preschool teacher. I just didn't go down that road. There's a project that most teachers do when they go to certification where they have to make toys for children or games for children that they can be brought into the classroom as a part of their curriculum. And when you go through that process, they ask you to look at, like, you know, what exactly is the child learning? Are they learning something that's gross motor, fine motor? Are they learning differentials? Are they learning matching? Are they learning sounds? Are they learning, you know, addition or basic math? And there's a lot of those key elements, like kind of like we were talking about with using portions of games. There's a lot of key elements that kids pick up that you don't really think about. Like I know that in this room right now, there's a couple of kids who are using tablets. It's entirely possible that even using the piano app on a tablet has learning elements. Even using a drawing app on a tablet has learning elements. It's showing them what happens when they move their finger across the screen, what happens when they mix colors or draw over something, or use a sticker function. There's so many different learning applications that it's almost, I mean, and this might be hard for you to hear, it's almost a shame, in my opinion, to see so many developers aggressively going after educational games only, thinking that they're the only market that parents will buy for. Because when you look at the top 20 games from 2013, games for every week. I know that every other kid that I've met that plays Minecraft has a very similar setup. They have an entire world they've created. Those are skills. You know, my kids learned how, like the day that he beat 1-1 on Super Mario Brothers by himself was like an ice cream party day. Because that's jumping on time, that's jumping and running at the same time, that's jumping on top of things to kill them and not running into them. There's a lot of skills that you learn from basic things like that. There's a mobile game called Color Sheet that I cannot praise enough. When you hear Color Sheet by Trinity Studios, that's an amazing game to look into, especially if you have kids that are, I think my son's right now is 3. They added in a junior mode that goes slower, and you pick the color, and you turn the sheets to color, and then you tap the sheep, and you blast the color of the wolves, and they disappear. But then as you move on to the levels, you add red and blue, and it turns into a purple sheep, and you have to hit the purple sheep to create a wolf with purple sheep. Those are skills that normally they won't learn. Like my son still hasn't learned color matching, and he's in his 2nd year of preschool. And so, you know, he knows that red and blue make purple from playing a game for a month. You know, he can make it 6 levels on his own without help, without frustration, and then he'll be like, oh, I died. All right, so again. You know, like, whereas I can't get him to practice his letters without a tantrum. So there's a lot of hidden elements that parents should definitely not overlook in games that are not traditionally educational. And that's actually a really good segue to Stephen has a little stuff prepared on educational stuff type things in games.
Yeah, hey, I am not a game designer, and so I don't have a lot in common with everybody here, except those of you that have kids. But I like games. But as you can imagine, a lot of them come across my desk. I play a lot. I write about them. And what I wanted to bring was I wanted to talk about some of the things that unintentionally degrade the play experience for kids, right? Like, we've all had that experience. How many of us have got a new game, started it, just one little piece of that experience, just bricked it. There was just something that we couldn't do or didn't want to do, right? I've had it, and we definitely everybody with kids has bought them something. There was just something in it it couldn't do, or it bricked it, made it a waste of time. Maybe something we could save for later, but not something they can do now. So I wanted to just kind of bring up a list of some of the things that most commonly degrade the experience. I'll make it fast. I don't have a lot of statistics. I just have some experience, just from my own experience. And I do everything analog. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I'm a writer. And I'll go fast because I don't want to keep everybody here for too much longer. The biggest one, and some of these are just things that you can, as designers, just apply a little bit of thought to it, especially if you're interested in expanding your market to kids. Some of the biggest ones are, every game has a tutorial now, right? Nobody has instruction manuals and everything, especially when you're making a platforming game. They're basically an endless tutorial. You present them with this challenge, and then we then ask them to repeat that challenge over and over. One thing that we struggle, especially younger kids struggle with, is they all learn at a different pace. Adults do that too, but a lot of them, adults have mastered some of the platforming elements by the time we're really playing it, right? We all played Mario when we were a kid, played Rayman when we were teenagers, whatever. The pacing of the tutorial elements in your games are important, right? Kids are learning at a different pace. And one thing that I have found is that certain games will, and I don't want to pick on anybody, but they will present you with a challenge once, and then expect you to learn it, and expect you to master it 5 minutes later, and be able to implement that 5 minutes later. That's not necessarily a problem, because failing in a video game doesn't really come with any real consequences yet. But sometimes we can be punitive, right? Especially when we embrace some of the more retro elements in video games. If we remember, not having checkpoints back in the day, having to start levels all over. That's coming back